What's up, guys? It's Grandmaster Eric Hansen. Got a new series for you here on YouTube. Pretty straightforward. I'm going on chess.com, playing the bots that they have, lowest to highest, talking about my moves, giving some commentary, having some fun with it. I do hope it's educational and relaxing, and in the end, hopefully it helps you win some games against the bots yourselves. Alrighty, time to go through the beginner bots, explain some ideas, and hopefully you pick up a thing or two when you try them out. So first up, we have Martin. Martin at 250. Good luck, sir. Let's play e4. Best by test. Let's bring that knight out. G5. Now, bring the knight out. Thought I was attacking the center. G5. Well, we can't take on G5 because of the queen, but I'm wondering at this level what happens if I just take the center pawn. And you're just gonna let me take that, Martin, hey? Just a free pawn. Well, thank you very much. And when you win a center pawn, it's usually really good. It means that you can get an even more impressive center. One less pawn to contest. So I'm going to respond with pawn d4. Support my knight, develop the bishop. Well, I said I was going to develop the bishop, Martin. You're just going to let me do that? So I could take the knight on c6. My only concern is that black recaptures with this knight, and now all of a sudden the g5 pawn would be defended by the queen. So as a result, as a greedy guy, I want to win a second pawn. My knight is defended, I don't mind that. I'm going to be taking on g5 first. Thank you very much, Martin. h5. That does not impress. Doesn't attack me, doesn't prevent anything. I think it's time to bring more pieces in. How about we develop our bishop? Threatening checkmate. Well, you did stop checkmate, Martin. And you're forcing me to think. Think about only good things. Now that the bishop is here, I could technically take on h5, threatening checkmate. I can also take with check. It's not checkmate. I can also take here and win your queen. Well, they're all pretty friendly. They all look good. I guess if I take here, maybe Martin will finally take my knight. Although I'm still threatening checkmate there. Too much choice. Too much choice. I will take the pawn. Martin does defend. And now I can't take here. It's not checkmate, right? The knight defends backwards. But I'll just take back. Okay. There's no more checkmate, but fortunately, the attack continues. And I think I'm going to take your bishop with my queen, but this knight is still pinned. I think that's the move. Okay. Again, lots of options here. I can take the queen, but my goal is actually, I'm going for checkmate. So what I'm going to do is take the knight. And no, I don't want to take the queen. I actually want to place my bishop right here and set up a checkmate on g7 or h8. So I'll actually take this first. Well, you know how to stop checkmate. I'll give you that. Check. Let's go a little fancy now. I want checkmate. So queen h6 check, king here. I don't see the checkmate yet, but I see it in a couple of moves. I believe the beginning of that, I mean, I'm going to go a4 and just swing my rook in. The nice thing is, if black ever contests, queen h6 is checkmate. The rook will set up a checkmate nicely. So let's go a4 and just rook lift. Yep. There comes the rook. And let me throw in this check first. That doesn't really matter. I guess we'll take... I can pre-move checkmate. And there we go. Good game, Mr. Martin. Appreciate all the free pieces. Great play. Do you want to coach my kids? No, but GG, Martin. GG. And now who's next? The next spot is Wayne. Wayne is also 250 rated. Hello, Wayne. Some of you guys watching the video are probably around 250 rated yourself, so let's see how it goes. e4 as always. Let's bring the knight out. Okay. Yeah, this is more realistic. Sometimes people bring out the queen and let's see how it gets attacked. The reason it's not recommended to do that is the queen does get attacked more easily when you bring it out. And I'm going to demonstrate a couple ways that you can do that. Let's bring the knight here. g5. And I think I'm going to move my knight to d5 just to tickle the queen. It's a good looking square anyways. Hitting the queen. Wayne! I'm trying to teach people here. I guess some people will blunder their queen. But yeah, in this case, that's once again, the queen's the best piece. It's a great exchange. Just thank you very much. Queen for a knight. Don't mind if I do. And now up a queen for a knight. If we want to be professional, the easiest thing to do here is to trade when it's possible, develop. So I'm going to take my bishop that hasn't moved yet, and I'm going to get rid of the knight. 1-for-1 trade. And then just castle. Now bad things shouldn't happen to me. As you trade more, you lower the chance of blundering, your opponent coming back. And yeah, we get closer to an endgame. So knight takes e4. A lot of different options here. Maybe I'm going to go rook e1. Maybe I'll do knight takes e5. I like the idea of developing when you can. So rook e1, just getting the rook into the game. Okay, Wayne is being very generous with the pieces. So defends the center, which is good to do for Wayne, but loses the knight. And we're in the habit of taking pieces here. So I'm going to grab that knight. Thank you, Wayne. Well, that is a threat. First attack. My knight's being attacked. I don't want to give that away for free, so I got to move it somewhere. And I'm going to move it somewhere safe. Knight all the way back to e1. At least it can't be attacked. Okay, c5. What happens? Okay, I'm up a queen for like just the full queen. So sometimes this is what you can do to solve your issues. I can play normal moves, this is totally fine, but I'm up so much in material, I can give back a little bit. And what I mean by that is, yeah, I'm going to take this pawn. I'm going to lose it to the bishop, and I'm going to win the bishop back. So I'm going to get a bishop and a pawn for a rook. But add to the fact that I'm already up a queen. You didn't even take it. It would be no problem. Like being up, you're up so much material by getting rid of a little bit, even if you technically lose the trade, your opponent's just going to run out of pieces. I need to develop the rest of my pieces. So I'm going to go c3, and my idea is to go d4 next move. d4 challenging the center, developing the bishop, just nice and easy. Everything's defended. And perfect. I want to open the position up. Thank you. Now you want to take. Okay. So I can take here, but I think what I'm going to choose is bishop f4. I'd rather black take, because then I can take my bishop is even better than before. Sometimes when you have an option to trade or not, you just try to figure out who does it benefit. I take there, maybe I let the bishop develop, but if black takes here first, my bishop gets to the good square first. My usual formula is keep it simple. So I want to use all my pieces, which means this rook is now going to join the game, and I'm going to move it to the most active square, d1. Offering a trade. Okay, d5 is solid. Going to bring my knight back into the game. Things can't go wrong when that happens. Put your pieces on good squares, use all your pieces. Unless your opponent's threatening checkmate or something, you just bring your pieces to good squares, good things are going to happen. This is an example. My bishop's developed, I see the rook here. I'm going to push my pawn up with a discovered attack on the rook. Okay, that's fine. You take this pawn, but now I get to attack your king. Check. Now it's my turn. Check. Knight's defended, checking the king. And now it's checkmate time. And checkmating, especially if you're just starting out, I see this all the time. Like, it's easy to give a check, but some people struggle with checkmates, and it's about finding squares that you can move towards the opponent's king that are defended. So like, you have to find the check. In this case, I'm looking at g6. I can move my queen to g6 because the knight defends it. It's tempting to give a check like on h4 because it's at a distance, but once you learn that you can get right up to the king as long as the king can't capture, that's how you cut the king off. So we're going to go queen g6. The knight defends, nothing else can attack it. Check. Then what's the next square? The king has to go back, and you're more likely to check a king on the back rank or in a corner where it can't escape off the board. Then what's the next check? Knight is covering this. It's also covering this, this, f7. Check. Forcing the king. And there you go. Queen d7. Can any other piece take it? No. Can the king take it? No. The knight defends. Does the king have any escape squares? Nope. Simple as that. That's a checkmate. GG, Mr. Wayne. Now I gotta find the next bot. Where did you go? Fabian. Another 250. No problem. We'll keep going e4, and I'm going to keep taking material. When people play a5 or h5, this happens, even at higher levels. Just take the center. When you're playing white, you push your pawns in the center, you take space. Don't be fazed by these moves, they're not good. Just get the development in, put the pieces in places that don't block things. So I'm going to move this bishop right here. I have the center. Black's not doing anything. And I'll just castle. Just keep it simple. No, Fabian, that's not it. That is not the move. That really weakens the king. You said pay no attention to my move. That's what the bot says. Sure, I won't pay attention. I'm going to take on h6 with my bishop. It's an even trade, but it pulls the g7 pawn to the h file, and I'm just weakening squares around black's king. If black's not going to develop, be my guest. So the only thing black's done is pushed pawn so far. I'm ahead in development. When you're ahead in development, you want to use that opportunity to do things that your underdeveloped opponent isn't ready for, right? So in this case, I've castled. I've put my pawns in center. I've developed. The next step is harassing this king, especially because I see it's nice and open on this diagonal. So I need to move my knight out of the way. I want to move it somewhere purposeful. I can move it somewhere else to move out of the way, but I want to move it to the center. This is a safe square. It's supported by my pawn. And now we have some ideas. Okay. Well, that does give your king a little bit of space. So let's see how you work with that space. He's surviving. You're trying to run this way, hey? Okay. Let's give a check. King goes over here. And, well, it's not checkmate yet. The king has no moves right now. The king's also not in check. And even though it looks really good, I don't see how my queen can check the king. My knight, my queen's out of the way. If I could put my knight here, that'd be a great check, forking the king and the queen. I need more ammo. And the good thing is I have other pieces, right? So if I can check the king, it'll be checkmate. So I'm going to play knight c3. I'm just going to develop, which doesn't hurt. And my idea is to put my knight to b5, check. And that would be checkmate in the current position because the king can't move. He's being stubborn. Now, not only can I not play there because the pawn can capture, the king is ready to burrow on c7. So the good thing about the moves I'm making is even if it doesn't lead to checkmate, I'm doing very well. I'm developed. I haven't sacrificed anything to get here. And some days you find the checkmate, some days you don't, but you're making consistently good moves. Good things will happen. And what I do know is it's time to open up the position because that only makes it easier to checkmate the king by removing these pawns that are sheltering the king. I just want to bulldoze it open. So let's just keep taking. Huh. He's giving me everything. You're going to give me everything. I will take everything. I still don't see checkmate, which is kind of annoying. But let me try this move with the sneaky idea of this check. Yes. It's a double check. So I'm going to win the queen. And I think that's going to make things a little bit easier. Maybe there's a checkmate on the board, but I'm not going to complain about winning a queen. Let me grab that. I don't see a checkmate right now. I'll take that free knight though. Okay, I might feel bad if I take too much material. So if I do want to play for a checkmate in this position, I could play queen f5. Queen f5 is a check, and it also wins the bishop. It's a really good move. But if I really want to get to the king, I need to open up lines in front of the king. It's a move like pawn to d5. I want to use the d file. I want to open up lines. All right. Well, in this case, I will take. Thank you very much. Check. King moves up. Let's give a check. King can't go here, only has one square. Now the king has a second square available. Right now there's two squares available for the king. We need to make sure it turns into one square pretty much. How about if I go queen e6 check, the king goes here, then rook d1 looks like checkmate to me. Let's start with this check. The king has a square. Well, I'll keep it simple. The most logical move is to look at a check. And it makes it easier to checkmate your opponent when you use new pieces. Because the pieces you're using already are taking away squares from the king. Right? My knight is covering squares, my queen is covering squares, so they're doing something. If I move my queen to f6 check, it's a good move. I just mean the king can then take the knight. So if I can use other pieces, that's even better. And g3, in this case, takes away square. That's a check. When the king's going this way, that's not a, not a good sign for black. The king has 0 squares that it can use currently, but it's not in check. I just need to check the king and not allow it to escape. There's a couple moves. Queen f5. King can't go here or here. It can't take there, can't go here. That's checkmate. Nice and simple. There you go. Alrighty. Next, bot. We're moving up. We're going to be playing Juan, who's 400. All right, Juan, good luck, sir. Juan's playing the side opening. We're just going to play in the middle. Just going to develop and castle. Let's just develop this bishop. I'm going to place it right here so that I can castle. What's f5? Generally speaking, you don't want to push pawns too much in front of your king, and this is a weaker pawn. Now the king's a bit looser again. But let's just calculate. Pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn, bishop takes pawn, and I think I'm ahead. And we're going to take whenever we can. So let me grab that. That's a check. I can block with a piece. I can move my king. The move that's preferred is to block with a pawn, because then this bishop's being attacked. So even though I got checked, I'm happy to block. That just supports my position. Alrighty. So we're up a pawn. Haven't done anything risky. Just castle. G5 is the definition of a risky move. I have my knight attacking it, my bishop attacking it, and the queen is the only defender. So I can just take that. I can take with a bishop, which hits the queen, or take with a knight. Taking with a knight has the benefit of making room for my queen to join. Taking with a bishop attacks black's queen. They're both good. I'll take with a knight. If I can sneak in a quick checkmate, that'd be even better. And that's the benefit of opening up lines for my queen. So there you go. Queen check. And it's time for checkmate. So the very common checkmate is the queen right in front of the king when the king is on the back rank. I just have to make sure, one, the king can't capture my queen, which it can't because my knight's defending it. 2, no other piece can take the queen, and there's nothing for black defending that square. And 3, let's just make sure the king can't go anywhere. It can't. So there you go. GG, Mr. Juan. All right. We got Philip up next, also 400. Start the same way, king's pawn opening. E4, E5. It's a bit better. We just develop the knight. This is an opening for black. I'm not sure if Philip, programmed at 400 ELO, knows what to do here. But first things first, some of your opponents are just going to give you free pawns. So I'm going to take this pawn and see what happens. I know my pawn is loose. I just wasn't sure if Philip was going to... Some players don't take free pawns. So now it's even. But white gets to move first in chess. And that's going to be very useful. You're going to see my next move. I'm going to put my queen to e2, attacking this knight. Holy smokes! Is that a mouse slip? Instead of queen e7? The idea of queen e2 is really simple. The knight moves back somewhere because it's being attacked. I moved my knight to c6. And I would have a discovered check on the king, and I'd be attacking the queen. Very dangerous. If you just visualize knight goes to f6, I can move my knight anywhere on the board. It's a check. I want to move it to the most dangerous square, which is c6. Philip just played king e7, which isn't good because not only do you can't castle, but there you go. Thanks for the queen. Thanks for the knight, sorry. Okay, now this is the example. Wherever I move the knight, this is going to be a check. Anywhere on the board, my queen will be checking the king if this knight moves. So I'm going to move it to c6 because that hits the queen as well. It's a double check. And I'm very happy to win the queen. And now it's time for... I think it's time for checkmating ideas. I said I think. It definitely is time for checkmating ideas. So how about we start with knight f7. Checks the king, hits the rook. King's making a run for it. King wants to run this way. I'd like to stop that. I want to stop it. How about I throw this check in first? Okay, so rule of thumb, try to bring more pieces in. And the good news is we're close to checkmate. Where is the checkmate? How about I start with... I see something. It's not very nice. Pawn to c4 check. Forces the king here. Now the king doesn't have any safe squares right now, but it's not in check. Find the check here. Give you a few seconds. There's a lot of decent checks, but one is a bit stronger. It's knight d8. Those backwards checks are very nasty. It forces the king back here. I'm going to give another check. My queen defends. The king moves up. And now, once again, when you're checkmating, the pieces you're using to force the king where you want, they might need to stay there because they're taking away squares. If I give a check with the queen, the king will be able to take this, which is defended. Queen's cutting the king off. Queen's defending this. The knight over here is taking away the c6 square. So I need something else. Unfortunately, it's waiting for us. Knight c3. Before I drop the knight, let's double check what happens. Knight c3 check. King is in check. It can't take the pawn. It can't move up. It can't move back. There you go. GG, Mr. Philip. Alani rated 400. The usual opening. Okay, we're gonna practice taking that pawn in the middle. Nothing wrong with that. And let's attack the knight. See if she defends it. If people aren't defending loose pieces, your job is to take those loose pieces. Queen can take the knight for free. I'm double checking. I don't see anything. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Now I'm being attacked by that pawn. So we have to move our queen somewhere. Or I could give a check. That might be a bit more advanced. Okay, I'll move my queen back. Nice and safe. And again, this is the opportunity. A discovered check. Now you might be tempted by discovered check by going, oh, I can go anywhere with a knight and it's a check. I can take this pawn, it's a check. It is a check if I go knight takes f7. But the king can take the knight. If I go knight d7, is that a check? Yes, but the king can take the knight. So I want to go somewhere where the king is in check, but it can't just take the knight. And I want to attack the best piece possible. So knight f7 attacks the queen, but the king can capture. Knight c6 attacks the queen, and it can't be captured because it's a check. So that's the best discover check. We get a queen for it. And now things are good. Now we're just up a queen, and it's time to trade off, time to develop. I'm happy to trade. Thank you very much. I'll take that. I will even take this pawn because it's not defended. h5. I think she wants to go here. That's okay. How about I just move my bishop? I actually had a bit of an idea here. Queen e8 would have been checkmate, but okay, she's defending. I'll take that. It doesn't look defended. Thank you. So we picked up a pawn. And just to be safe, let's castle. Then nothing bad can happen. Okay. Okay. She's defending this pawn, but look, I'm up a queen, I'm up a knight, I'm up pawns. Keep it simple, just develop some other pieces. I want my bishop in the game, I want my knight in the game. I'm going to push this pawn up one square so that my bishop has a diagonal to develop. So let's just place it somewhere. How about bishop g5? I develop and I attack. Okay. Bishop takes pawn with check. I can take with the king or the rook, or I move my king, but I think I'm just going to take the bishop. That's just a good trade. Yep. She's not defending that rook. We're just going to get in the habit. Take material when it's offered. I will take this rook. Thank you very much. And now I want to develop my knight. Even though I'm up a lot of material, it's a good habit to get all your pieces out. It's not like I'm being attacked. There's a rush. Let's bring all the pieces in. I'm going to double my rooks on the F file. Going to set up a cool move here. I'm going to play queen g6. I'm threatening rook f8 checkmate. Rook f8 checkmate. The reason I play queen g6 so the king can't escape off the back rank. So rook f8. My rook defends. And that's checkmate. The king has nothing to block and can't move up. Here we go. GG. Now we have Noel, 550. At what elo will it get a little harder in the opening? We're going to see. Not a good opening. Grab the center. Develop your pieces, castle. You know, one reason why we push in the center, for both sides, you fight for the center for space. Black played h5. That's not fighting for space. I'll show you what happens if you don't have space. We have space, and we can push without any challenge. So let's just say I push up and I attack the knight. I would love to win a knight for a pawn. Presumably the knight moves. I push this pawn up. Now the knight should move again. And I got all those pawn moves for free. I could even continue if I really want to be annoying. Let's push again. Now it does mean the knight can go back. That's something. Pawns don't move backwards. By pushing, I attack the knight, but I give up a square. But I'm gaining some time. Now I'm going to develop the bishop, attacking the knight. Well, Noel was supposed to defend that knight. Didn't quite happen. So, can I take this knight for free? Is it defended? It's not defended. Gonna grab that knight. And just be very happy. Okay, let's complete development. Oh no. Noel. What's the problem here? Besides this weakening the king significantly, it allows a very good move for me. Do you see it? You probably do. I could castle right now. Castling, it's not bad. It's what we're trying to do out of the opening in most positions, but I'm ahead in development. Black hasn't moved any of their pieces in a dangerous manner. I'm going to take that opportunity to put my knight on g5. It attacks the rook. It supports my bishop going to f7, which would actually be checkmate. Also brings my queen potentially into the game in certain positions. No problem. Well, that's a good move in that it prevents checkmate. Bishop f7 is now guarded by the rook, but checkmate's not the only goal. You can take all the material first. So I'm going to grab that rook. If I had castled, I would have missed out on that opportunity. Okay. I would like to go for checkmate. Where is the checkmate? Let me try something a little devilish. Going to move my bishop back. See, I was going to play knight g5, threatening checkmate, but I anticipated my opponent would go e6, blocking it. In this case, the reason I moved my bishop back is I wanted to take right here. And it's going to be checkmate. You'll see how. If you take, it's checkmate. I'm going to take here. Okay, the king has an escape square. If I take here, you can block. I'm going to go e6 check first. King has to take. d5, king has to go back. Now I take because my pawn's over here. And now there's a big difference. Now I can just take back with the pawn. It's all defended. King only has one square. Well, two squares. I'm wrong. That's a mistake. Check. Now the king only has one square. Everything's defended. Let's bring in the final piece. Queen h5. King can't move. King can't block. King can't... Yep. There you go. Good game, Noel. Oliver's up next. Rated 550. The bots are giving us great opening positions. We're going to keep at it. Let's bring the knight in. This is what you're supposed to do. Just develop and defend. I'm going to go bishop c4 just to develop. And now we're going to try the fried liver opening, which is a very decent opening at most levels, and it can catch a lot of people off guard. That's moving the knight to g5. This pawn's being attacked. By going knight g5, I'm defending the pawn kind of, but I'm also attacking f7. Let's see if Oliver's booked up. I had two attackers on f7 and there was only one defender. d5. Okay. You know a little bit, Oliver. I will take. Oh, that is theory. Knight a5. So now my my bishop's being attacked. I'm temporarily up a pawn. Whether I can hold on to that, that's a different story. I'll give a check. Ah. Well, now the opening's paid off because black can't castle anymore. So, let's just castle. Oliver. Oliver, what is this move? Pawns capture diagonally. Oliver, Oliver, Oliver. I will take. So yeah, we're just up a piece and the king is looking a little stuck. And just complete development. Let's just get our pieces into the game. Let's bring the knight. Now, queen c8 is a move I love to see. So let's say black's king is in the middle and I want to blast things open to get to the king. Well, I probably have to do something about these pawns in the way. I need to open up lines. Need to get my pieces in. Perfect opportunity to push this pawn 2 squares up to d4. It develops the bishop. It might get the queen into the game. And just bring all the pieces in. So queen back to d8. If I take this pawn, that's a free pawn. And I'm attacking the knight. That's a good move. But it does allow the queens to be traded off. Maybe for the purpose of checkmate, we don't want to do that. So I'm actually going to play bishop e3. I could trade queens and we're completely winning. But by not trading, Oliver, look at that. Thank you, Oliver. Now I don't have to trade queens. And now you see the position. By playing d4, I've blasted open the king. Now the lines are open, the queen's involved. So let's keep it simple. I'm looking at checks. I see a check here and I see a check here. I see a check on d5 by moving my knight and bits defended. Before I move the check, I want to make sure it's actually helping me. If I give a check on c5, the king can't go back because of the bishop. Can't go there because of the knight. So I'm forcing it to this side of the board. Queen c5 check, king has to go to d8. What's my follow-up move? Knight takes e6, check. Gonna keep checking the king, but I want to force the king to a corner. That's where checkmates are possible. Check. You know what's nice about the knight checks? pieces can't block knight checks. Bringing the rook in would be a great move. No problem at all with it. Technically, maybe black can throw some pieces in front. I don't think black's surviving, but technically, they get a couple moves in. If I take here with check, the king has to move. The pawn is loose, and it has to move to c8. What do I see? This knight? Well, knight's it's covering this. Can I win this bishop? Absolutely. My queen's guarding it, so if the rook takes, my queen can capture. What's the other part of the board that the queen and the knight converge on? Right in front of us, right? c7. So if I take on c7 and I want to take with a queen, actually my queen is hanging. If you get too focused, you might forget the queen's hanging. If I take on c7, my knight's defending it, the king can't capture, and the queen's right in front of the king like that. That's checkmate. Nothing can capture, king can't move. There you go. Good game, Oliver. Next up, Malika from Serbia is up next. Okay. Good luck. Still rated 550, so we're going to definitely put pressure on the opening. Develop the knight. Bring the bishop out. And that's a solid move. Now we don't have the fried liver because the queen can capture. Okay, so what am I going to try here? I'm going to just practice castling. Just some good habits. Knight goes there. I might be losing this pawn if I'm not careful. So I will defend it. And we have a pretty even standard chess position. I'm not going for a quick kill this game. Can't have all of them play out the same way. And so if I want to complete development, I can move my knight. I can move my bishop. That's all very possible. Nothing wrong with that. I can also move my... Yeah, maybe the bishop goes to g5. Okay. Let's try that move. Bishop g5. Point of bishop g5 is to develop, and you're pinning the knight. Black moves the queen out of the way, so it's no longer pinned. The problem is that queen was defending the knight. The pawn is also defending the knight, but doubled pawns are very tricky things. They're not always bad, but the point of this g-pawn is also, in case black castles, to be, defense for the king. So I'm going to take, it's an even trade. I'm going to argue that this is a target for me. Now I need to target it, those double pawns. I'm going to bring my knight to c3, complete development, and I want to probably bring my knight all the way to d5 next. Rook g8, that's an aggressive move. Are you trying to checkmate me? Maybe. Maybe. But it's not checkmate yet. My king defends. Okay. I'll bring my knight in. Well, I thought I calculated. If I'm wrong, then I deserve to lose. The king can capture. Okay, that is a check. And I can move down. I can't take because of the bishop. And I can also move in the corner. Let me move in the corner. I might want to use the G file for my own pieces. Okay. So, if I move my knight, I might be losing the queen. If I don't do anything, I'm also losing the queen. Bishop takes knight is check. Hitting my queen and the king. But fortunately, we didn't forget. We were attacking this pawn. Don't tunnel vision too hard. I could take here and try to win the rook. Problem is this attack. This bishop is the most annoying piece right now. So I'm going to take right here with check and get rid of it. Now we just count the material up. I am up a full rook and a knight. Yay. Okay. Well, I don't want to lose this knight. So how about I just defend it? I don't mind losing this bishop because it's an even trade, right? My pawn was defending it. Even trades, especially when your head is fine. This is not an even trade. She just took my knight, but my queen is defending it. And it's a check. So just going to take the queen. I don't see this. What's the point of this move? Can I take that pawn? It looks like a free pawn. It wasn't defended. Okay, now it's attacked. I'll give you that. And now I should move my bishop. I'll move my bishop. I have a couple approaches here. This rook is coming in. There's pawns that are loose. It's true, but I'm up a queen. So I can try to defend passively, but I can also just try to checkmate my opponent's king. If there's no pieces to defend, what if I just take here? And now I've checkmate in 2 moves. Forced checkmate. I'll give you a moment to find the sequence. Want to make sure the king can't run away. So if black's king wants to run away, which way is it going in this position? It's going to the queen side. Then it might have some room to operate. I'm going to go bishop e6 first. Now the king has 0 moves. And we're preparing the same type of checkmate we've been drilling. King can't move anywhere. And now queen d7. Can it be captured? No. Can the king go anywhere? No. There you go. Good game, Malika.